Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be speaking about the 1921 peace dollar, and it's one of the most iconic coins in history, so we're going to be speaking both about its context as a peace dollar as well as the values based off of condition, and there are a fair amount of VAMs, so if you're looking closely on these coins, a few of them are going to have attributes that make them much more valuable. There's also a bunch of different proofs for this date, basically as they were transitioning from 1921 to 1922, and just as they sort of were creating these, some really cool things happened, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about as well as some mint errors. But the first ones were struck to fulfill the Pittman Act. Basically, the states wanted to provide Great Britain after World War I with a bunch of silver so that they could guarantee their coinage in their colonies, especially where there were rumors spread by the Germans saying that they couldn't back up their currency with silver. It redesigned the coins, completed a redesign starting in 1907, and this one sort of concluded that process, though the high relief of 1921 was really unsustainable because it caused the dies to wear really quickly and break down, so they couldn't really stack them very well, so they end up totally gutting the obverse design from a relief perspective and making it a super low relief, but in the process is where some of those proofs are going to come about. They mostly circulate in the west of the United States, and they go until 1928 and then bring them back in 34 and 35. But the peace dollar itself, there was a low mintage because this year a lot of Morgan dollars were also being struck, so there's only 6,743, but in all grades they're rare. Some of the most expensive XF or lower coins, certainly for the peace dollar, is going to be the 1921 AU55 goes to $400, and then big jumps in every grade in mint state. So often these would be able to attract wear relatively easily just because of their higher points given by the relief. So a lot of friction, a lot of bag marks, but the specifics, hardest to find in all conditions. 1925S and 1928S for higher mint state condition are tougher because the San Francisco mint had pretty poor strike quality, though it wasn't that good here. And this year, Philadelphia would improve a lot in 1922. Only 1% come sharply struck. Now, often the other coins would be released in 1,000 coin bags. There were never any bags released. There was somebody early on with a full roll of them, so 20 coins, but that's way lower than 1,000. Probably contributes to its scarcity, but a lot of these have disappeared or gotten worn down or, are just not in that good shape. So they make them rare, but you should check for some of these different VAMs. So a reverse field break. This one, some of these values are old because the peace dollar, this date, 1921, was subject to a lot of hype and has sort of skyrocketed in price in the past years. I'm talking about 2021 right now. So in the past year, it's really gone up in price. So some of these values are lower, but these VAMs will make the coins worth money. There's a die break above the raise in L. There's also going to be something called the polishing lines variety, where there's just extreme polishing through the $1 as well as above the In God We Trust and along the states of America. There's also going to be a different version where there's just intense polishing lines sort of in the jaw and in the We Trust for the obverse of the coin again. There's also the line through L. So normally the rays are supposed to go under the lettering, but there's one where the rays sort of dominate over it, and the values are going to be increased on that one. All these, the values will be increased because a lot of the stuff that I was working with, there wasn't a ton of history, and there's a bunch of really low mintage proof. So these were struck with a matte finish, really attractive preparation, and a lot of attention was paid to striking these coins, and they're all over the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands dollar range, and a lot of these auction records are pretty old with only 8 minted. Any of these proofs are super significant. There's also the sandblasted coin, which is just super unique. This one sold for $130,000. There's a few mint errors that I'm going to go over. So this one was broad struck. Basically, it was out of the collar and the metal expands after the strike. So it's a $5,000 coin. This one was just reverse, was laminated, and the value and condition don't really match up. It was back in 2010, but there were some impurities in some of the planchets that will lead to these laminations, and this one seems to have flaked off of the coin. And then lastly, another broad struck coin, this time in a different direction, just expands in a really cool off-center looking way for a $7,750 find. So anyways, really cool coin. Again, there's a lot of different proofs the following year as they transition from making it with the higher relief, then slowly gutting it down, and then settling on a really low relief. That's technically a different type of coin, so it's a 1 year type, but look for the line through L, some of these over polished ones, and that reverse break, and be aware that this is a really cool coin, probably one of the top 10 or 15 ones to own for any collection, just as an example of a really unique and historic find. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like the video, comment, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. And I also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and some other social media platforms. You can also go to my main channel website, treasuretownYT.com, to learn more about the channel and sort of stay in contact. I also will eventually host all of these videos on coinsmetalscards.com, which will be both news, marketplace, and coin information. I do have the goal of eventually getting pretty much every US coin, date, mint mark, denomination on the channel with a similar video to the one that you just watched, and that will likely all be hosted there. And then I also have treasuretowncoins.com, which is sort of my coin dealing wing, coin dealing only entity that is a little bit less focused on content production. So thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some of my other videos. I also have videos that are not just the date, mint mark, denomination recap in this format, so you can check some of those out, and I'll have fun seeing you there.